Technology is very important.
Positive way, like we can make friends from around the world using Facebook or MSN.
Which we can use internet, and students in general, they have to know how to sieve out the proper information.
So certainly it is.
Addiction to computer is no different from addiction to drugs, addiction to sex, addiction to other things, right? So
I think it has to definitely start at this point, and also parents, and they have to closely monitor what they do on the internet.
Computers. That's the world of today. Doing anything and everything on it. Computers have come a long way since its first release. From usage at work, education, to military operations, and for our own personal entertainment. But since the birth of computers and personal gadgets, we've been drastically affected by it. And in this fast-paced world of ours, we're able to work more efficiently and enjoy ourselves in a more private and free way. We've forgotten how to communicate in the most basic of ways, and even how to speak to each other. We've instead chosen to hide behind a screen in the world of virtual reality, keyboards, and pads. Today, we focus on how computers have affected individuals and their families.
Well, basically, I feel that technology is a very important thing, and certainly computers have affected my family. Children these days, they tend to spend long hours on the computers. They play games, they learn stuff. If they are unsure about things, they actually resort to the computers to gain more knowledge. So certainly it has affected us in many ways.
It depends on what they use it for. If they use it for their schoolwork, I think it is very beneficial. If they use it for research, it's beneficial.
We can make friends from around the world using Facebook or MSN.
My friend overseas, he communicates in a way that through the internet with his family. So I think that's quite a good way of bringing families that have split apart for various reasons together.
When my dad goes overseas, it's easier to communicate with him using email and all this.
The advancement of technology has led to greater communication overseas, over many different areas.
In a way, I think it has brought us closer to the world, and there's a variety of information that we can find from the internet. So yeah, it has definitely affected the way that the family works.
One negative aspect about computer usage is that you find individuals who are able to all of a sudden feel like they're sharing everything about themselves to another individual online, and then suddenly when it comes to meeting the person or trying to communicate the person, they find themselves lost for words, because how we relate to people interpersonally is very different from how we relate to each other online, and this inability to balance the two is what affects people's relationships with each other. So for instance, I can be your great buddy online, but when I meet you in real life, I might not be able to relate to you in the same way I do with you online, because we are still human beings, but yet we communicate with each other electronically like we were just a two-dimensional individual.
You see many people spend so much time on the computer, and then they just break away from society.
Tend to do their own stuff and be in their own world.
Spend lesser time with your friends.
Always 24 hours on a computer and not even spending time for anything else, doing anything else, studying or whatever.
The family tend to get separated quite a bit because everyone is always looking at the screens and they're never spending family time together.
Negative thing is we spend too much time on it. Yeah, so a lot of time, family time could be better spent.
The computer takes up individual time, and it takes up a lot of time. One game about 30 to 45 minutes. So at night if I'm home, that 30-45 minutes is spent by individuals. It's not spent as a family.
one thing that families can do is to place the computer in a common living area. For example, maybe a study room or the living room, in a place where everyone in the family can actually see what the individual is doing on the computer. Especially for young children, you want to be able to monitor what they are doing.
We put our computers out in the open area rather than in their rooms. Once you put it in their rooms, they shut you out.
I think a lot more parents should start younger, controlling their kids. The problem these days is parents are very busy, so sometimes we just say, okay, go play with your computer, and then we don't come back to them for 3-4 hours. They don't know what they're doing online, they're not controlling what they do, not controlling the time spent.
I think it has to definitely start with school and also parents, and they have to closely monitor what they do on the internet and what they are reading from the internet.
Sometimes homework is actually sent to the computer. They actually have to discuss things on the computer. It's not like last time where we can actually discuss things over the phone. Now they chat to discuss issues. So it's a different ballgame altogether for them. So we actually have to learn how to adapt. As parents, we must see what media they use and understand them.
So what parents need to do is to teach them to be socially responsible. It's just like smoking or drinking. You don't want to say you can't do it, but do it responsibly. And I think it also applies to computers, because it's not something that should be taken away completely. I think we need computers as much as we don't need them.
The old adage is that you give a child a fish, he eats for the day. You teach a child to fish, he eats for a lifetime. Right? So in a sense, if you teach the child how to make choices, maybe in different situations, then when you are not around, then he's able to make the right choices. Because as parents, we're not going to be around all the time.
The other thing that families can do is actually find activities that they can do outside the home, where computers are not easily accessible. For instance, going to a park. Sometimes just being with each other in a park is a great family time where they can actually sit down and talk and enjoy each other's company. Time is time, and there's no such thing as quality time. You can't have a 2-minute quality roll on the floor with your child. Time spent with your family is time spent with your family, and families need to realize that.
So, how do you think computers have affected your family, your own life, before this presentation and now? Do you see yourself in any of these scenarios presented? Remember, you control your own life, and how you let others and technology affect your life in positive and negative ways.